Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe television.
Hi sir, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news on Equinoxe television in the English language. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Our major stories this evening. As the rainy season continues or intensifies, it has been raining cats and dogs in Douala and also in Limbe in the southwest region of the country. In this edition of the news, we take you to the Down Beach neighborhood of the seaside resort town of Limbe, which happens to be totally inundated. Residents of Down Beach these days wake up with their feet in water almost on a daily basis. Davidson Maimo will be taking us to Down Beach in Limbe in this edition of the news. And road accidents continue on highways in Cameroon. After the accident in Boya and Marua, circulation was totally paralyzed in Misole, a locality around Nigeria, after a cow fell off from a truck. The road was totally blocked for several hours. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details when we come back. And in this newscast, the SDO for Mfundi explains his own side of the story following severe backlash after he signed a communique threatening to expel anyone who speaks against state actors and state actions in his area of command. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. Circulation has been re-established on the National Road number 3 after it was perturbed for several hours on Wednesday, leaving travelers frustrated also today. This was as a result of an accident around Misole in the Dibamba subdivision, Sanaga Maritime Division of the Littoral region. The accident incident was caused by a cow which fell off from a truck. Let's now have more with Innocent Aze. We come back to this report by Innocent Aze. It tells us that circulation has been re-established on the National Road number 3 after it was paralyzed for several hours. That was on Wednesday and the greater part of today. This was as a result of an accident around Misole. Misole is a locality in the Sanaga Maritime Division in Edea precisely. It happened after a cow fell off a truck. Innocent Aze with the details.
It was a hectic Thursday for persons traveling to and from Yaoundé on the National Road number 3. In the early hours of the day, travelers got stuck in a traffic jam for hours around Misole, found in Zibamba subdivision, Sanaga Maritime Division of the Littoral region. At 2 p.m., the situation was the same. We have been here since 7 a.m. It's midday. We are still on the same spot. I just came out of the car to take fresh air. We have already spent more than 4 hours here. Circulation is totally paralyzed. Reason: an accident caused by a cow that fell from a truck. The cow fell in the middle of the road. Driver of an oncoming truck, in an attempt to avoid hitting the cow he suddenly bumped onto, crashed with another truck, perturbing circulation. No human casualty was recorded except for the cow, left handicapped. Travelers had no choice than nurse perseverance till evacuation of the cow and trucks for circulation to be re-established.
Thank you, Aze. Fortunately, this time around, no human life was lost. And we told you in the headlines, as the rainy season continues, it has been raining cats and dogs in some cities of Cameroon, and we take you now to the Down Beach neighborhood of the seaside resort town of Limbe, which happens to be totally inundated. The people there say they wake up every morning with their feet in water. Let's now go to Down Beach with Davidson Maimo in Limbe.
Everywhere, these are living rooms. You see, everywhere is covered in water.
Every rainy season is a survival of the fittest for the people of the class quarters neighborhood in Limbe.
Hanging everything up, as you can see. If not, these properties will be flooded away.
So when water enters, we stay there for 2-3 days before the water can drain.
We will always hang like spiders to ensure that water does not carry us away.
So that's how we suffer till the rainy season is over.
The consequences of the flooding can be beyond bounds.
Typhoid, malaria, fungal infections. You see our legs are moving to the water. So it's really not easy. It's really, really hard.
The drainage system has always been the subject of flooding, with some individuals building on the waterway, not leaving out the dumping of refuse in gutters, blocking the free flow of runoff.
Well, what we are suffering here is due to the drainage pattern.
The canalization of this area cannot be done by the Limbe City Council because the budget is very expensive. Take for the situation of Limbe. When they had their canalization, they had external supports, they had support from the government. So begging, please, the government, support for the canalization of Limbe so we can stop suffering.
The Limbe City Mayor, Paul Efome Lissombengale, has told the people that the yearly inundation of some neighborhood is one of the key issues that must be addressed in the new updated Limbe Master Plan.
From Limbe, we take you to the northwest region. After months of suffering due to an imposed order from separatist fighters in Bamenda, banning circulation along the Bamenda-Bengui stretch of roads, it is now a thing of the past as the ban has been lifted, somehow a relief for the local population who can now carry out their daily and economic activities freely. Lucy Liengu is here to tell us more.
The opening of the Bamenda-Bengui stretch in the northwest region, which was blocked by alleged separatists for months now, is a relief for the population. Road users were obliged to go through Bali despite the poor state of the road.
Because the road will use may not really be easy.
The ban on circulation along the Bamenda-Bengui road also discouraged business persons who had to abandon their petty activities due to hiking transportation fare. Passing through Alabukam, passengers usually pay 1,000 francs CFA to reach Bengui, but during the ban, the transportation fare increased to 4,000 francs to and fro instead of 2,000 francs CFA.
Because first,
we are happy the road has been opened because at first it was difficult for passengers to pay 2,000 francs to Bamenda and 2,000 francs back, but now the population of Bengui will increase. As a result, some activities at this park, known as Mbong in Bengui, slowed down. This Monday, after the lifting of the ban by alleged separatists, the community came out massively to clean the road, which was covered with grass.
To this other story, amidst reigning condemnation from rights defenders, civil society, and political leaders over an administrative order considered as a gross violation of human rights, the prefect of the Mfundi Division explains the decision. He highlights the imperative necessity to ensure public order by preventing any possible unrest in his area of command and the nation at large. He spoke to the national daily newspaper, Cameroon Tribune. Greater details now with Babila Jonathan.
The main idea running through the explanations of Mfundi Senior Division Officer Emmanuel Mariel Njekdeng is the maintenance of public order. He begins by establishing the fact that it is essentially preventive. He substantiates that with the popular saying, prevention is better than cure, and that, he says, is the duty of prefects at the level of divisions. Emmanuel Mariel Njekdeng emphasizes on the point that it is unacceptable for people to orchestrate a rebellion against state institutions and officials. In response to comments suggesting that the administrative decision threatening to exclude from the Mfundi Division all persons found guilty of such acts is a violation of the right to movement, he makes it clear that freedoms have limits, and in the absence of order, freedom of movement is trampled upon. So it is imperative to ensure order to guarantee that right.
And now we take you to the far north region of the country, where intertribal conflict and unemployment are said to be some of the many challenges faced by youth of the Mayokani division of the far north region. Let's now have more about the people's plight of that area with Cedric Chakutu.
Limited employment opportunities, insecurity and inter-community conflict are some of the challenges faced by the youth of Mayokani in the far north region of Cameroon.
Au moment où les élites ne s'entendent pas, l'impact c'est que ça bloque aussi le développement. Quand les élites ne sont pas réunies,
when the elites are not united, this will cause disorder in the community and this will have an impact on us, the youths.
Les difficultés de chômage et le manque d'emploi. Cela est dû
the limited employment opportunities in our area is according to me due to the dispute between our elites. Some youths expressed anger and disappointment over what they consider as marginalization, especially in terms of employment opportunities in their community on the part of local authorities.
With the inter-community conflict, we the young girls are greatly affected. When we go to a company for a job, they say we can't work because we belong to this clan. And when we go to others, it is the same story. It's really a problem for us.
To unite the youth on one objective and ambition, a new rising elite from Mayokani brings hope and a breath of renewal. These emerging leaders have decided to actively engage with the young people by organizing a football tournament to restore confidence and promote social cohesion. We thought it wise to organize this competition so as to unite the youths of Mayokani under one objective, which is unity and development in our area. Despite these difficulties, the young people of Mayokani remain hopeful and are looking for ways to build a better future.
In other news, a report published by the World Bank indicates that about 8 million Cameroonians risk plunging into severe poverty by the year 2026 if authorities fail to address the country's current economic hardship. An economist, Polycarp Chenui, abides to this remark made by the financial institution, the World Bank, to him. If authorities do not reduce taxes to encourage investments, solve the Anglophone crisis, adopt climate change adaptation policies, and direct remittances towards investment, then the World Bank's revelation might come true. Innocent Aze has more.
In the report published by the World Bank, 8 million Cameroonians will be living in extreme poverty in 2026, attaining the rates of 25.0% if positive actions are not taken by authorities. The institution states that the situation currently stands at 6 million Cameroonians living in extreme poverty, that is 23% of the Cameroonian population. An economist explains why Cameroonians are here.
Firstly, the high level of unemployment in the country is one of the reasons most Cameroonians or households are depending on the government for livelihood. And we know that the government is not a job creator. The government is there to moderate the activities of the economy. And when the market mechanisms fail, therefore the producers having all the latitude and the possibilities in creating jobs, we are going to face situations like this. Abject poverty is on the horizons, whereas we are seeking to be emerging nations. Climate change is a massive problem in the country right now. And the Cameroonian economy, over 60% depends on agriculture.
The close to 8 years old Anglophone crisis, he emphasizes, should not be ignored.
This crisis that has been in the Northern and South region, and we haven't solved it, or we haven't maintained it, especially economically, is handicapping the Cameroonian economy generally. Remember that the Southwest especially is the breadbasket of the country, is where we have most of the cash crop from. Misuse of remittances coming from abroad. When these remittances come in, they are directed towards consumption. And when we are directing this towards consumption, development slows down because we are supposed to direct these remittances towards investment in the country.
According to Polycarp Chenui, the government can prevent 8 million Cameroonians from diving into extreme poverty by 2026.
With the creation of new jobs, we can help absorb the level of unemployment in the country as well. The government, first of all, has to review its tax system. The government also has to create a system, also has to come in and try to channel these remittances in the country towards investment. Mitigation adaptation policies on climate change should be taken seriously at the higher level of government authority as well. The war in the Northwest and Southwest should, even if not politically been taken care of, let government do everything possible.
Proposals the Cameroonian authorities are expected to reflect on and implement to free its citizens from extreme poverty.
And now over to our sports page, let's talk volleyball. The sports discipline has been going through some hardship, especially financially, with several disagreements among the various stakeholders. Even the intervention of the Minister for Finance, Louis Paul Mortaze, has yielded no fruit. In the report which comes up next, Cedric Chakutio now tells us more about the problem faced by the volleyball discipline stakeholders in Cameroon.
On the 15th of July 2024, the Minister of Finance, Louis Paul Mortaze, through a correspondent, refused to open a matricule account to Bello Boudan, who is recognized by the General Assembly and the Minister of Sports as the President of the Volleyball Federation. According to the Minister of Finance, this refusal is justified by the fact that he does not recognize the latter as the legal President of the Federation. This correspondent brings back on the table the fight for the chair of President of the Federation. Just to note that, on the 26th of February 2024, the Supreme Court had recognized Serge Abouem, who had complained on the fraudulent organization of these elections, as legitimate president of the Volleyball Federation, thus cancelling the election of Bello Boudan as president of the Volleyball Federation, who was elected on the 4th of January 2024, a situation that puts more disorder at the Volleyball Federation.
In some few days, over 10,000 athletes would converge in Paris, France for the Olympic Games. Cameroon will be participating in 4 sports disciplines, namely athletics, swimming, judo and table tennis. Linda Angunu Nguayaka will compete in the 400-meter women's hurdles. Who is Linda Angunu Nguayaka? Samantha Kangibril has more.
Nugu Nguayake is Cameroon's lone medal hopeful in the 100 meters women's hurdle at the Olympic Games in Paris. Linda Christelle Anugu Nguayake goes to France holding the national record in the 400 meters women's hurdles. As part of her preparations for the Olympic Games, she recently participated at the 23rd edition of the Senior African Athletics Championships that took place at the Japoma Stadium in Douala. In the course of the competition, Linda Christelle Anugu Nguayake won the bronze medal. In 2023, Linda Christelle Anugu Nguayake harvested bronze at the African Games in Accra, Ghana. Linda Christelle Anugu Nguayake's lone gold medal in an international competition came during the Francophonie Games in Kinshasa in 2023 in the 4x100 meters women's relay discipline. She has not yet clinched a gold medal in the 400 meters women's hurdles she will be competing during the Olympic Games. Overall, Linda Christelle Anugu Nguayake is one-time Francophonie Games winner, 2 times African Championship bronze medalist, 1-time All-African Games bronze medalist, 2 times Francophonie Games silver medalist, and 2 times in the top 8 of African Championship. It will be Linda Christelle Anugu Nguayake's first appearance at an Olympic Games.
Thank you, Smart. That sports report brings us to the end of the first part. The news talking points comes up next. Stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. Our guest tonight is a civil society actor, Emmanuel Ndiwum. Thank you so much for accepting to be our guest on Talking Points today. We are coming back on the cost of procuring an ID card in Cameroon. Recently, Cameroonians were scandalized when it was announced that the cost of having an ID card had skyrocketed from 2,800 francs to 15,000 francs, and recently the official amount came back to 10,000 francs CFA. Now, as a Cameroonian and also as a social critic, how do you appreciate this price increase or fluctuation of procuring an ID card in Cameroon?
Thank you very much for having me, and it's once more a pleasure to be on your platform. Each time duty calls us to serve Cameroonians in our own little way, we'll always make sure that even with the rents, we brave the odds to get to the studio. Coming back to your question, I want to start by saying this, that a special good evening to Martin Bargangele, who is at the helm of the police force in Cameroon, the police boss in Cameroon. And I want to equally send this general message to all Cameroonians, starting from A to D, But time never forgets bad leaders. Time will never forgive bad leaders. There are certain things when you want to do as a leader, you put yourself in the shoes of those you are supposed to lead. Some time ago, some 25 years ago, when I was still somehow tender, ID card was not even up to 2,800 francs. You can do your findings. Sometimes when it came to the point of 2,800 francs, Cameroonians were still like, the cost was so much. But before I get to your question, let's ask ourselves a few questions. What is the cost of the procurement of an ID card in some of the countries around Cameroon, our neighbors? If you look at Nigeria, the cost of procurement of an ID card in Nigeria is 3,000 naira. You can bring it down to CFA and you know how much it costs. When you look at Equatorial Guinea, which is sharing boundary with Cameroon, it is free of charge. And when you look in terms of resources, Equatorial Guinea cannot compete with Cameroon. When you look at Gabon, down here, it is a similar scenario. But I decided to leave Africa and go to where Cameroon copies all its policies and ideologies to come and paste, even though they have been failing, which is France. An ID card in France is free. Let me tell you, a lot of people are not aware. But I want to tell you that identity in France, the procedure right up to procurement stands to be free. And I've been asking this question. Why is it that Cameroon copies from France in many domains but has failed to copy in this domain? How do you expect that woman in Gelmunduka or that woman in Manyemen, that woman in Talangaye to have, you are talking about 10,000. That is what just came in some few days. But the price that first officially came out was 15,000. I think it is a so much noise that Cameroon have made that some shame has hold those people who are in charge to pretend to have brought it down to 10,000. But my worry again is that 10,000 is what will officially be written on the papers. But the procedure will be above the 10,000. And Cameroonians, I always say it, sometimes the doubt may always come to pass. That 10,000 will not be what you will use. If you are going out for an ID, practically hold a sum of 20,000 francs. Because I know that is what they will tell us. But at the point of the production, that is not exactly what we are going to spend. Somebody is lying.
So a free ID card in France doesn't mean no dime is spent. And now some people consider this move by the government or the Delegation for National Security as impoverishing the already poor masses in Cameroon. Can they be corrected? Someone
the hospital, instead of you to be looking at measures to treat the person, you are looking for measures to shorten the death of that person. That's exactly what is happening in Cameroon. I said, if ID card was 2,800 francs and people were unable to procure it, is it at the level of 10,000 francs that they'll be able to do it? That people are unable to eat for 300 francs here in Douala, in the economic capital. You think it will be 10,000 francs. I see in this as a ploy, as a way to send many people to prison or to exploit, to extort from the innocent citizens. Because, like I've always said, when you look at other governments in the world, including Africa, you see somebody can be tempted to think that Cameroon government is the only government that scams its citizens. I say scam our money from its citizens, because the kind of thing that this government does to its own citizens, it is not seen anywhere. But I send back the ball to Cameroonians. Sometimes I think we deserve this kind of governance. When you keep sleeping, thinking that God shall live from heaven to come and take you out of dictatorship, then we have our teeth to snap every day, whereas nothing is changing. But I will have one thing. Time has come. Whether you like it or not, first go and register. Don't ask me who you are going to vote for. First go there. That is where the change will start from. Because if we cannot out those who have been sitting on our future for a very long time, it means we have accepted that it should continue to sit on our future and that of the future generation, which our children are going to pay. And remember, Cameroon has a lot of expertise that can fabricate ID cards. Like in Gabon, it's a Cameroonian that can fabricate ID cards even at a lower cost. If it is not a way of scamming Cameroonian, why brings in a foreigner and then elevate the price even more than the price of the procurement of ID card in the country of that own foreigner? So it is sad. It's a sad situation. Cameroonians need to stand up and start thinking of a way forward.
Manuel, let's now look on the other side of it. The delegate for national security also said that 90% of that amount goes to production partners. They might have reason, don't they?
Let me shift you from our talking point tonight. We all know what happened with the Volleyball bridge. We all know that. I don't want to cite the countries here. It was a country that took the contract for a lower price. And it's another country that claims that they are the owners of Cameroon. They came and took over the contract to take the same people to come and work. Why am I making this allusion? It's simply to tell you that if the partner is not wrong. In every partnership, we want to maximize costs. In every partnership, we want gainful employment. If the people have gained employment and they want to maximize costs, they go to the people who can be able to make their own people to help them maximize costs. So you can only blame those who handle the contract, whereas in the era of high technological development, where we have experts in all domains of technology in Cameroon, with all the ICT universities, they are exploiting our expertise somewhere out of the country, and inside the country we are exploiting that of somebody which should help to encourage capital flight. This is the only country that does not like the talents born out of their own nation. That is why even the hospital we have around, our ministers, starting from the president, they hate to go there. They are afraid. They think that expertise is found somewhere, whereas what is have in our country is trash, so they should not consume it. And then it means that there are superhuman beings, while you and I, who consume the very, services, are minor humans. We are less humans. So, though any reason that was advanced, that shall be advanced, is not real.
Now let's take the very last question, Emmanuel. What can you say about those people who also complain that even with the money, they have the money to pay, but it is difficult for them to have the real ID card because they have to do with just receipts, which causes them to miss several opportunities?
Still an order from
okay, Manuel, we will sure come back with the cost of procuring ID cards with you still in our subsequent news editions. Thank you, viewers, for always being there. That does it for this edition of the news. Don't go away, our programs continue. Equinoxe comes up in about 30 minutes, and the news in the French language, that would be at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.